Hello, welcome to the Code of Honor podcast. I'm your host, Kiley. I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, the man with the sparky hot takes. This is Kyle. Kyle, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Apparently, I'm just white hot over here. I guess I don't know.
It's just who you. It's just who you are, and I feel like you have to own it at this point. But today we have.
I feel like it's been foisted upon me, but that's neither here nor there.
No, I think the viewers know. But today we have a special episode for you. We are previewing Supercard of Honor. It's happening in a week. We have a few matches announced. We have some news, some other noteworthy stuff. So I think we should start by talking about Karrion Kross. Kyle, what do you think?
It was such an odd thing. It came out this week that Karrion Kross, the former Killer Kross, and Scarlett revealed that they were originally set to be at Supercard of Honor, and then after Tony Khan took over, they hadn't heard from him anymore. They just kind of got ghosted, it sounds like, and it's something that you and I had talked about as well, on Twitter this week leading into this episode about the state of things with people that were being promoted, were going to appear, were not going to appear. It's an odd. Yeah. We're in an odd place.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Karrion isn't an anomaly. It seems like there's a lot of people who maybe were told by Ring of Honor that they'd be brought back. Old Ring of Honor talents and so on. There were people who were free agents who were told they were coming in. And then it seems like Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor has really just shaken the entire show up. And for me, that's a little worrying considering the short time frame between Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor and then the show actually happening. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I mean, I know we try to keep it real positive on this show. We're both, longtime Ring of Honor fans. We love the product and support the promotion, but there's some things that definitely give me cause for concern here. We talked a little bit about last week about whether or not the old talent would be brought back, or people who were from the original Ring of Honor, if we'd see them in the new Ring of Honor. And there was another report that came out this week that indicated that a lot of them were told, if you don't hear from us, then that's it. Very, very don't call us, we'll call you kind of feel. And that is definitely a little worrisome. Tony has a lot on his plate, as always. He's, handling AEW. Now he's decided to take on ROH on top of it, which I'm sure is a passion project for him, but you can take on too many passion projects and it can start to be a problem.
Yeah, and we'll get to this later in the show, but we've had some AEW names announced for Supercard of Honor. And while I love AEW, I want Ring of Honor to stay its own thing, and I want it to have its own group of talent. And to me, the fact that there's a lot of Ring of Honor talent who became free agents in the new year, or Ring of Honor Legends, those kind of people, they're not being called. And I don't want Ring of Honor to be staffed with just AEW guys. But at the same time, Tony Khan is very good at his job. And I have no doubt the show would be good. But there's something special about Ring of Honor that I don't want to be lost.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I like surprises, and we've talked about this. I like surprises as much as anybody in wrestling. I think it's a blast. I think it can make everything so much more fun. But I would like to know a little bit more about what the vision for ROH is. And right now we don't. We don't even know what the logo is going to look like. I mean, they were promoting a new logo to debut at Supercard of Honor. Now it sounds like that might be out the window because Tony wanted one more show with the old before he brought in the new. And we talked in previous episodes about the production delays, and you don't need to give me a detailed bullet list, outline, business plan, whatever. I don't need all that, but give me something. Please.
Yeah, we're a week out, like we said, a week out from Supercard of Honor. We have no clue about TV. We've been told there's going to be weekly TV. We don't know any other details. We don't have a roster. We don't have anything. We're flying blind. And we have one big show, and then we're basically just going to sit and wait, I guess.
Yeah, it'll make for some interesting times. Like, we know that at this point they had the TV taping planned for April 16th, I believe it was, at the 2300 Arena. As far as I'm aware, that's still happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that also means, are we using the intervening couple of weeks? Will there be anything on TV in those times? Will the April 6th, when will the first episode of TV be following the pay-per-view? I think Tony understands the value of not waiting on that. You don't really want to wait a month for your first TV coming out of your big show. Hopefully that, but between when we're taping this and when it airs and when Supercard actually happens, in that week or so, hopefully we'll have some more answers, because we're wanting to love this.
And there's definitely a lot of excitement surrounding the show. I think a lot of people are ready to get back into Ring of Honor. Maybe people who are older fans, people who have never seen Ring of Honor. So they definitely have to get this show right. And this goes back to the AEW talent thing. There's a lot of AEW talent on this show, and I am worried that we're going to see a spike in viewership for Supercard of Honor, because these guys are draws. FTR is a draw. Yuta is a draw. But they can't be there all the time. And how is Ring of Honor going to build a roster that will sustain TV when it's in the same universe as AEW? I have no idea. And to touch on... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm holding out faith that and I wonder if that might not be part of the goal here with Tony staffing the show with FTR, with Wheeler Yuta, with Lee Moriarty, with names that people have seen in AEW now over the last couple of years, to sort of, it's not really necessary to give the rub to guys like Josh Woods, for instance, but guys that haven't been seen by as wide a TV audience at this point. And maybe that is a leaping off point.
That's fair. I also wanted to touch on Jonathan Gresham, because there's reports that he is AEW bound, AEW Ring of Honor bound, but he's the champion. And we can use this as a segue into our Bandito Gresham predictions if you'd like. If Jonathan Gresham is All Elite and he's on Dynamite, Rampage, AEW television, what does that mean for Ring of Honor? If he drops the title to Bandito, of course, but is he going to jump back and forth between Ring of Honor and AEW? This is why we need more information. I need to know where the brand split lies between these two.
Yeah, and if they're going to occupy a shared universe, then I hate to break it to you, but the divide might not be as clean as we might like. It's entirely possible that Jonathan Gresham maintains the ROH World Championship and works predominantly ROH, but works a few AEW dates scattered in. And this will kind of play into my prediction with another thing that Tony teased on. I forget if this was through his social media or through one of his myriad media appearances, but and I'll just go into it. Tony said, "Do not leave at the end of this show." There's a lot of stuff going on. It's WrestleMania weekend. It's down there. It's down in Dallas there. He said, "You will not want to miss the end of this show," which tells me he's got something big planned. And I'm going to say that it's Bryan Danielson.
In Ring of Honor?
I don't know if it'll be full time, but I think he wants to build towards Jonathan Gresham and Bryan Danielson.
Honestly, it sounds like a bold prediction, but the more you talk about it, the more I could see it happening.
Is this going to be a thing where you're mad at me if this doesn't happen again?
No, because I'm still a little bit skeptical in this one.
Okay. I'm not promising anything now. I don't know. So yeah, I guess my official prediction would be, if we're gonna, man, that is in the Wayback Machine for Dragon. Self-esteem by the Offspring. That's kicking it back a ways. No, I guess we're segueing into predictions now.
Let's do it. Let's start with the main event. Let's be different.
Sure, sounds good. And I guess
Jonathan Gresham.
Yeah, and I guess I'm going with Gresham retains. He's been hot. He's been defending the title all over the world. I haven't seen as much of Bandito of late. I think Gresham retains, and I think the big surprise at the end is the classic throwback Bryan Danielson coming out to lay down the gauntlet, and he's going to. And eventually we're going to build to Danielson versus Gresham for the ROH World title.
I definitely agree, Gresham. I think it'll be interesting because I do see him on Dynamite and Rampage in the future. I think it would be a good idea to have your world champion be someone like Jonathan Gresham, who people are, looking forward to seeing on Dynamite and Rampage. And I think it'll be good for Ring of Honor to have him represented on AW's main programming. So I think Gresham as well. I think he's more well known and more anticipated than Bandito for AW's audience. The Danielson match is definitely going to happen as long as they're both under the same umbrella. I think it's a safe bet. It's going to happen. I have a side question for you.
Okay.
Bryan Danielson comes out. Does he have William Regal with him?
I'm going to say no.
No.
I think this is going to be independent of Regal. I think this is it wouldn't shock me to see a little bit of friction between Danielson and Regal on AEW TV about this. But
interesting.
It would be my hope, and maybe this is me fantasy booking more than me actually predicting, because the easy thing would be to say, obviously, Regal comes with him because of the current angle. But part of me would like to say that because this is a throwback to Danielson's time in Ring of Honor, that he does not have anybody with him. It's just Danielson.
I have to add on to that. So Danielson goes to Ring of Honor by himself. Let's say he wins the title. That would be a great segue into a feud with Jon Moxley if Bryan Danielson wins the world title when they're in this tag team. And Jon Moxley didn't even really want to be in the tag team to begin with. So, you know what, Kyle? I'm sold on the idea. Stamp it. If it doesn't happen, blame Kyle, not me.
Yep, my fault.
So another AEW-esque match, the Briscoes and FTR. This is my most anticipated match. If anyone follows me on Twitter, you know I'm FTR's number one fan. I've been fully converted during their AEW run. The FTR Briscoes match has been teased since Final Battle. I maybe a little bit before. Maybe they had some back and forth on social media. And we did have reports that the feud was sort of placed on the back burner because Warner Media didn't want the Briscoes on AEW television. And then there's nowhere else really to have it. Even though multiple indie promotions pitched to have it, they had the money ready. This was definitely Tony Khan's call to have it on Ring of Honor and not on, a GCW or something. So my bold prediction for this is that FTR wins.
Ooh.
I think on AWTV, we're seeing FTR sort of getting a little bit of a push, a little bit of a face turn. I think them ditching Tully I think that creates a weird dynamic with them and the Pinnacle, or I guess what remains of the Pinnacle. And I think FTR going into the Owen Hart tournament is going to need that real, strong babyface look about them. And I think beating the Briscoes here, maybe getting Bret Hart as a manager. I don't know. I'd love to see it. I think they're definitely teasing it. I don't know. I think FTR gets it.
I've gone back and forth about this one, and I'll probably go back and forth another half dozen times between now and the show. But if I had to say it, I think the Briscoes retain. They have been so integral for so long to Ring of Honor, and something would just feel off about taking the tag titles off of them at this moment of ROH's rebirth. So I think the Briscoes retain, and I'm kind of with you on the Bret Hart concept. And I like this as another disappointment and another impetus to push FTR along that story of trying to find themselves and trying to figure out who they are, and eventually leading to Bret Hart on AEW television.
Yeah.
I think
you know what? Kudos to you, Kyle. That was a good idea. I'm going to write that one down too. I definitely think Dax getting the singles match and having a good showing and having callbacks to Bret Hart, I think it's telling that they're probably at least Dax is going to be in the Owen Hart tournament. I don't think FTR has a future in Ring of Honor. I don't think they're going to stick around there long. Not like someone like Gresham or Danielson I could see sticking around there. I think this is a one and done for FTR. Mm-hmm. But, you never know. If they win, I guess FTR is just a mainstay. And now I got to add, Ring of Honor to my weekly watching.
Well, and to be fair, ROH in the past has shown a proclivity to let their titles leave the promotion from time to time. Back around 2007 or so, I want to say, the Briscoes lost the tag titles to Shingo and Naruki Doi. And right around WrestleMania weekend one year, Shingo and Doi took the titles back to Dragon Gate for close to a month before I believe the Briscoes won them back. Tomohiro Ishii recently was the ROH TV champion at one point in the last few years. Obviously, Takeshi Morishima and the world title. ROH is not in the past has not necessarily been super shy about, oh no, another promotion has our title. It's like, yeah, it's happened before.
Yeah, and the Briscoes have defended the titles in this sort of, I guess we call it ROH's hiatus. And I do think the Briscoes are Ring of Honor mainstays. I think Tony Khan would be foolish not to bring them back for this reboot. I think if he's going to build a Ring of Honor roster, I think the Briscoes are in it. And if they're not, that's a real shame. So Tony, we need the Briscoes back. I would like to see them keep the titles, but something about FTR being there for this big dream match, it just, I don't know. Tony loves to do the unthinkable on these weird shows. So, I'm going with the bold prediction. I'm going FTR.
Oh, now who's got the hot takes?
Only when it's FTR.
I wouldn't complain. If FTR won the titles, I would not complain at all. It would be a lot of fun to watch the Briscoes try to come to AEW and chase for it. Other tag teams, whoever that might be on the roster, come and chase for it. It would be a lot of fun, and you could tell some good stories. But I just think the Briscoes take it, so we'll differ on this one.
Yeah, and a little bit of a tangent for this one, but you talking about the maybe roster, it would be really interesting to see some of AEW's tag team division cycle into Ring of Honor, because AEW's tag team division is so stacked that there's not a lot of tag teams that get time. Like, you can only have one title program, and then everyone else is just kind of there. They have an insane amount of tag teams. So the Briscoes versus Varsity Blondes, that'd be great. Briscoes and Bear Country.
I've contended that they're getting more TV time lately because of the angle with the Hardys, but yeah. I'll contend that Butcher and Blade are criminally underrated.
Yes.
And they would have a banger with the Briscoes. They
really would. And that's a really good point. Butcher and Blade, where are they?
They're being Andrade's henchmen.
I love the Andrade story. Not to turn this into an AEW podcast. Andrade's another one that I would like to see in Ring of Honor. I don't know. There's something about him that just has Ring of Honor energy, and just he's so good.
Bring back Roosh just to give me Andrade and Roosh.
Yeah, you know what? That's our connection. Briscoes versus the Acclaimed. That would be incredible. But I know it's just because the Acclaimed is always incredible.
Yes.
Okay, and then match that was announced today that I'm super excited for. We have Josh Woods, Wheeler Yuta. I don't know about this one. I think this could go either way. I don't have a strong prediction.
It could go either way. And Josh Woods has been making appearances on AEW TV, so it would definitely be a thing where it wouldn't surprise me to see him retain because they've sort of established him as a bit of a star. But I'm going to say Wheeler Yuta takes the title. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go big. I'm going to say Wheeler Yuta takes the title. And because one, he was in the original Pure, well, not original, but he was in the most recent Pure title tournament.
Yeah.
Did very well for himself. And I think you use Wheeler Yuta taking the Pure title, especially if, we're working in conjunction with my theory about Bryan Danielson and Wheeler wanting to work his way into the Blackpool Combat Club, that Wheeler takes the Pure title off Josh Woods.
Yeah, that could be his way to prove himself because it wasn't a no. William Regal didn't tell him no. So I think Wheeler Yuta beating Josh Woods would be big. I'm just not entirely sure where Josh Woods stands right now. He's had some AW dates. He did some darks. He, by all accounts, did very well in AW. I think he's done a great job in this position, being the champion during the hiatus. And I think he is a guy who has star potential. But at the end of the day, this is Ring of Honor booked by Tony Khan. And the Wheeler Yuta story and his relationship with Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, or I guess lack thereof relationship, I don't know. I think that's a story that Tony Khan is really invested in, and I think he wants to tell that story right now and get it going. So, I'm going to go with Wheeler Yuta, even though I'm still iffy on it. I'm not sure. This match is so weird to me. I didn't see it coming, and so you sent it to me today that it was announced, and I was like, no way, this is a rib. This is someone fantasy booking, but I guess it's Tony Khan fantasy booking, huh?
Yeah, it's Tony Khan's personal game of EWR. No, and you and I both love Josh Woods. He's a tremendous talent. He's absolutely great at what he does. And I could see either one. Part of me wanted to. There's part of me that also wanted to have a title change on the show, and so this felt like the most likely place to do it for me. It's entirely possible that Josh Woods retains, although there is one more title that we're kind of hoping to see defended on this show, and we'll probably get to that one a little bit later. But
yes,
let's go on with some more predictions.
Okay, we have two other matches that I think are a little weird. I'm excited for them because, of course, they're great matchups. But I don't know. We have Swerve, who just recently made his AW debut. He has a match on Rampage the day that we're filming this. So, by all accounts, an AW guy. And then we have him against Alex Zane. So, I got to go Swerve. Are you going to make the case for Zane?
I can make the case for Zane. I don't know how convincing it will be because I'm predicting Swerve as well. But Zane does have a history in Ring of Honor. Yes. He was developing there. I believe. I'm trying to remember if he was in the Pure tournament as well. I don't think he was, but he was in Ring of Honor and he was getting a little bit of a push before he left to go to NXT. And we saw how that turned out for him. That turned out that way for a lot of guys. So, so the fact that Zane does have an ROH history means that maybe he's a guy that they might be building around moving forward. But even still, it seems like it would be shocking if Tony Khan were to book Swerve to lose, even on another promotion. Yeah. He has so much invested in him right now.
Yeah, it would be hard for him to go to Ring of Honor and lose. And not saying that Zane is, a bad talent or anything like that, but he's not as much of a star as Swerve is right now. And it would be difficult for him to then go. Yeah, it would then be difficult for him to go back to AEW with this loss. And the AEW audience is very much in the know about these kind of things. They wouldn't be able to just pretend it didn't happen. And I think that would hurt him in AEW. So I think the safest prediction on this entire show for me is Swerve. The rest of them, I'm like, I don't know. This is a very hodgepodge card, but I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a surprising match, but it's going to be tremendous. I mean, both of them are absurdly talented. I don't know if they've ever actually met or crossed paths on the indies. That would be something for maybe our producer to look up, but it's probably not super relevant. I'm going to say I don't think they have, but I could be wrong. Yeah, easy layup there. Swerve wins. And then goes back to AEW to continue dominating. Zane, we're hoping will continue in ROH. He's a tremendous talent and is somebody that you can definitely build around. And hope they get their time and they deliver a good one.
Yeah, and Tony Khan definitely does seem, especially in recent months, that he's very, very interested in young talent and getting them under his umbrella as soon as possible and allowing them to grow to be sort of homegrown AEW and now I guess AEW Ring of Honor guys. So I gotta say Swerve is a safe bet, but Zane, credit to him. He's a great talent. This next one is another one that I'm like, where did this come from? But okay. We have Jay Lethal and Lee Moriarty, both AEW guys. I gotta go Lethal. He's a Ring of Honor legend. He's, former champion. I think this one's easy.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be another case of close but no cigar for Moriarty. He's going to deliver a tremendous showing. He's going to really show why he's being called the future of this business for a lot of people. But it's going to be too much, and it's going to be Lethal, who I feel like Lethal's going to go back to the rebooted ROH as well. I feel like that's where he's going to end up. Lethal's felt very directionless since landing in AEW. And
I agree.
That could be for a number of reasons. It's entirely possible that this was always the plan, that he was going to go back when ROH reemerged. But I don't feel like there's anything for him in AEW right now. And I don't know how much he would like to go back to ROH, but there might be a feeling of been there, done that.
Sorry, that's fair, but I definitely think Jay Lethal is a guy who is nearing the end of his career. I'm not saying he's retiring right now, but I think he's definitely getting older, and he has a lot of experience that could be useful in a new Ring of Honor, especially if this works out like AEW did, where there's a lot of young talent and they need legends to sort of guide them. I don't know. Jay Lethal has always been an ROH guy to me. And yes. I definitely agree. There's no direction for him on AEW television. And I think that might be intentional. I think after his first big initial push, I think they realized maybe he doesn't fit as well in AEW. Maybe he would fit better in a rebooted Ring of Honor. And while I think this would be a big win for Moriarty, I don't think Lee Moriarty is staying in Ring of Honor. I think Jay Lethal is. So that's why I got to go Lethal. But I have a question for you, Kyle.
Okay.
Lee Moriarty, going back to the Danielson thing, going back to the Yuta thing, do we see Lee Moriarty being another little fledgling in Blackpool Combat Club?
I think eventually. I think we're going to tell the Wheeler Yuta story first. Mm-hmm. I think Lee Moriarty is going to continue on this close but not quite finding himself kind of path. excuse me, I think eventually we're going to get there, and that they're going to build to Moriarty as part of this as well.
Yeah.
I feel like those names weren't mentioned for no reason. Very little in AEW happens for no reason. And because it wouldn't be me if I didn't have a throwback or a historical what have you. I want to think about the Jay Lethal and Lee Moriarty match to kick it back to something from Jay Lethal's past.
Ooh.
In Ring of Honor. Back in 2004, at the very first Survival of the Fittest show, there was Jay Lethal was still in the process of leaving. I think he might have still been in the Special K stable at that point. He was still going by the ring name Hydro because they were all party rave kids. That was the whole concept behind the gimmick. And at the first Survival of the Fittest show, CM Punk defended the ROH tag titles by himself in a scramble match. One of the participants was Jay Lethal as a Special K team. Right after that match, Punk, I forget if Punk challenged Lethal or vice versa. Assuming Lethal stepped up to Punk, and they had an impromptu match right there and went for like 20 minutes. And this was CM Punk almost at the height of his powers in Ring of Honor against this kid. And it was a major coming out party for Jay Lethal. Probably 6 or 8 months later, he was a protege of Samoa Joe. He was winning the Pure title. And, it was that moment against Punk where he had an amazing coming out party that nobody expected. And it led to all these other big things for him. And I wonder if you see something similar with Lee Moriarty here. He and Lethal have a great back and forth 15, 20-minute match. And then you can really start to build Moriarty moving forward.
I definitely think that would be a smart use of Jay Lethal. Maybe I'm in the minority on this one. I don't want Jay Lethal back in the main event scene in Ring of Honor. I think while I did enjoy his work in Ring of Honor, the old Ring of Honor, I think this is the time where we really get some new faces in Ring of Honor and we establish them and we push them into the main event scene. But I do like the idea of using him to get other guys over. And I think Lee Moriarty would be a good first step just because of, his potential in AEW. And I guess that speaks to Ring of Honor's position in the AEW universe. But I think Jay Lethal's, I think he's going back to Ring of Honor full time. I'd like to see him have some power there, maybe as like a sort of Arn Anderson style figure with a team, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just, just seeing the way the matchup worked out with the younger guy against the veteran like that, and because it was Lethal as well, it immediately threw me back to that. And it was such a launching point for Lethal. And we've all predicted such big things for Moriarty. Literally a little over a year after that, he was challenging Punk again for the ROH World title. Lethal was the guy that Punk fought at Sign of Dishonor when he first signed his contract on the ROH title belt. So, that was, almost a year coming full circle for him as a character. And I would love to see a similar journey for Moriarty because, well, let's face it, he's fantastic. He deserves all the titles and the flowers and the accolades that he can get.
He definitely does. And I think we're going to get there. I think he's going to be in Blackpool Combat Club. He's going to win. Maybe he'll win the TNT title. They definitely have plans for him. And I think this is a good first major match for him. I think he hasn't had a match this big in AW so far. So we'll see. But I'm going Jay Lethal.
Yeah, Lethal wins. But he's going to get a fight from the rookie. It's going to be it's a relative rookie.
I don't know if the viewers can tell that we're very excited for the show. I feel like every match was like, oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
Well, and that was a thing. And I think we've talked about it as well, where it feels like some of the matches kind of came out of nowhere, but
yes,
at no point was there ever a doubt that they're going to be great matches.
Oh no, because the talent here is very good. I feel like I think it's safe to say that Tony Khan is handpicking the talent for these matches, and maybe for the Ring of Honor roster moving forward. So of course it's going to be good because Tony Khan likes big spectacle matches that he can promote. Look at his pay-per-views. It's like every match is a spectacle.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. I'm not really sure why they booked that. It's going to be amazing, but I'm not sure why. So, okay, sure. Why not? Let's go for it.
So here's a match that nothing's been announced for the women's title. There's no women's matches yet. But we have our Ring of Honor Women's World Champion right now is Deonna Purrazzo, who wrestles for Impact. And this is a very weird situation. I think that she definitely has to be in the new Ring of Honor if she's going to be champion. But I'm not sure where AEW stands with Impact, and I definitely don't know where Ring of Honor stands with Impact, and I don't know where Deonna stands with Impact. I don't know what's happening with any of these people. But I don't know. I think she's going to have a surprise opponent. Maybe she drops the title here, goes back to Impact, and comes back later. I don't know. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this, Kyle, because I am flying in the dark.
I think Deonna drops the title. I think that's, even if I'm not sure about a pure title change, I think a women's world title change is probable. I don't know that there's a bad relationship with Impact or per se, but I think that you want to have as many of your champions in-house for your launch as you possibly can. And I don't know if Deonna's contract status will allow that. So that just leaves the question of whom. And there is an embarrassment of riches right now on the women's independent scene.
Yes. I have a safe bet, and I have two sort of that would be wild bets. So I think safe bet. I think Tony goes someone from AEW, just because it's someone that he already has signed. Because we're booking the show so close to Supercard, I think Tony Khan is honestly. I feel like he's scrambling. But I think my bold predictions are a lot better. I think Britt Baker is an option, and I know it's crazy, and everyone on Twitter loves to tell me that I'm nuts and I'm crazy. But listen, there's history between Deonna and Britt. There's history between them in the AEW universe, and Britt's not doing anything. Deonna, like you said, I don't think she can be champion if she's in Impact. I don't think you can sign her to Ring of Honor. And I don't think the relationship between Tony Khan and Impact is bad, but I do think that door is closed for right now. So why not Britt Baker? Why not?
All right.
Kyle hates
okay.
it.
I could.
Kyle hates it.
I worry for Britt if that's the case, because it will lead to a lot of complaints of overexposure. And I don't think that would be necessarily her fault, obviously, but I can see that backfiring because of that. As far as other candidates, Willow is a good one who has been, wanting to get into the Ring of Honor title picture before the hiatus. Did very well for herself in the tournament. I would love Layla Hirsch and Deonna Purrazzo from our producer Jameis there. That'd be a lovely suggestion. If we're gonna swing big, it's someone with a history in Ring of Honor, and is a free agent. Athena.
Okay.
Athena is a free agent, has a history in Ring of Honor, and is from Texas.
That's an interesting one. And I have a curveball to throw you. So this is airing after this episode of Rampage happened, so this could be totally irrelevant. But Tony Khan said on tonight's Rampage, it's March 25th, that he's going to announce a female signee. If that is Athena,
Yes.
does she still debut in AEW and go to Ring of Honor immediately?
I think that would be the one thing that could really blow this out of the water for me. If she debuts on Rampage on Friday night, the 25th, I don't think you see her in ROH.
See, and that's my worry, is that in your entire prediction, Allie Ketch is a safe bet, but if it's going to be someone who's going to beat Deonna and have the title and be in Ring of Honor, I don't think that's Allie Ketch. And that's my issue. That's my issue with Layla Hirsch as well. I'm not sure if she goes to Ring of Honor and wins the title because she's still sort of in this Chris Statlander feud on AEW television, and I don't think that's resolved yet, and I don't think it'll be resolved in the next week. So that's my issue with Layla Hirsch, though I would love to see it. I think those two would have a great match.
Absolutely. Let's see. We talked about Willow. We talked about Athena. Taya Valkyrie is floating around, but I don't know that she's going to be someone that's going to hang around in Ring of Honor. I don't know if she's going to go back to AAA or if there's other plans there for her. There's no shortage. Nixon Newell is floating around out there as well. Like, there are so many options, and
I think it could be anyone.
I'm gonna say that tonight it is not Athena, and she is gonna be the one in Ring of Honor, just because otherwise my mind just kind of glazes over with all the possibilities, and I kind of get paralysis of choice.
I definitely agree with you there. I think Deonna and Athena would be an incredible match, especially on this stage, and especially for the title. Part of me feels like Tony Khan is going to use this open spot in this title match. I think he's going to use it to forward some story. I think there's a lot of things going on in the women's division right now in AEW that aren't getting time because Tony Khan doesn't give women time, but that's for another podcast. I think I would love to see Serena Deeb. Jamie Hayter winning the Ring of Honor World title right after Britt Baker lost hers would be incredible. I think that would be good for their story. I think Layla Hirsch, Chris Statlander, there's a wealth of talent. Diamante, how could I forget about her? She can sign with Ring of Honor. Yeah,
Serena and Deonna would have a clinic. That would be unbelievable. Like, that would be sit and take notes during that match. You'll learn something.
Yeah, I hope it's a match that really gets time. Looking at the rest of this card, and of course, other stuff could be announced. We're just going off what we have now. I'm worried the women are going to be an afterthought. Ruby Soho would be another great one. I'm just not sure, given the way the AEW crowd loves her and they really, long to see her. I'm not sure Tony's going to put her in Ring of Honor where AEW can't have her. And that goes back to, I don't know where Ring of Honor stands with AEW in Tony Khan's life. Is Ring of Honor less important? Is it equal importance? That's why we need more details. We need more information.
It's true. But no, there's plenty of stuff. And so we have those 5 matches. We have the presumed Women's World Championship match. And that leaves presuming that we still are going with an 8-match card because Tony Khan's purchase seems to have upset every other aspect of this. If we're still going with an 8-match card, that still leaves 2 spots open. What do we think goes there?
Well, I was telling you this earlier. I definitely think there's going to be a battle royal of some kind because Tony loves them. And I think it would be a good way to get a lot of people on this card. Because like I said, I don't know who's going to the show. I don't know who's on this roster. So I definitely think there will be a battle royal or a scramble or some sort of big multi-man match. I don't know who's in it though. It could be anybody at this point.
Yeah, and definitely that would be a good way to. I agree with you there. It would be a great way to flesh out the roster a little bit and to demonstrate to people, okay, here's a little bit of who you can expect to see on a week-to-week basis. For instance, and we were talking about this on Twitter earlier before we started recording. Where's Dalton Castle? Where's Shane Taylor Promotions? Where's I said where's the Righteous, but they're on Impact. But the Righteous are still floating around out there. Where's Dak Draper? Where's Cheeseburger? Or I'm sorry, World Famous CB.
World Famous CB. Yeah, and a lot of these guys, not to take this down a negative path, a lot of these guys have said they haven't been contacted about the new Ring of Honor reboot or even the show. They're just free agents, and there's no Ring of Honor for them to come back to. And I think that's a shame, because I think this would be a great place to have not all, but that big chunk of the old roster, just put them in a battle royal or a scramble. I'm not saying you have to sign all of them, because of course this is Tony Khan's project, and I think he wants it to be different than Ring of Honor was in the past. But I do think you have to do that little bit of fan service. I don't think you can kick all those guys off the show, especially Shane Taylor Promotion.
Yeah.
I think that's a major
Mecca
that happens.
The Mecca Brian Johnson.
If
this comes to his attention, I'm very sorry for leaving you off that list, sir. But
you didn't mean it. You didn't mean it.
No, I don't want heat with Brian Johnson. But it's there's a lot to be said for fan service, like you said, and Tony Khan has said that he was a fan of Ring of Honor. So to me, I don't think if that's the case, your first action is to go in and sweep the promotion clean and start fresh with your guys.
Yeah.
If you love Ring of Honor, then bring back the guys that made it Ring of Honor. Like your Shane Taylor Promotions, like your Dalton Castle, like your Brian Johnson, like your, like all those guys. And I really hope that we're able to do that.
I definitely agree. I think I'm not sure where Tony's head is at, and a lot of this is us speculating, but I think most people would agree that STP has enormous value to wrestling in terms of their in-ring stuff and their, out-of-ring stuff. And I'm personally surprised that they're not in AW yet, because when Ring of Honor folded, or I guess went on hiatus, I thought that they were shoo-in for AW television, but I was wrong. And I think they're so synonymous with Ring of Honor in, 2022. I think that, Josh Woods, I think he has to be there. If he's not going to be in AW, he has to be in Ring of Honor, because he's so synonymous with Ring of Honor. Yeah. And the Briscoes. I think the Briscoes have to be there. I think there's not a lot of women that were in Ring of Honor. They were working to build the women's division, but I definitely think you have to bring back some old faces there. I don't think this can be just Tony Khan. I think, Tony Deppen. I think Tony Deppen was one of the ones who was, very upset with good reason. I think these are guys that are Ring of Honor guys, or they fit well in Ring of Honor. And I don't think it's right to not have them on this show, especially guys like we mentioned earlier, like Karrion Kross, who were told they were going to be there, and now they're not, just because Tony Khan bought it. I feel like you have to honor that promise, and having a battle royal or a scramble, or you can even go crazy and make it like a giant ladder match or something. That'd be a good way to get all these faces on the show.
And speaking of Tony Deppen, reminds me, as a former Ring of Honor television champion, what about the current Ring of Honor television champion, Rhett Titus?
Yeah, where is
nothing from?
See, and I feel like we could go on and on about this, because Kyle and I have talked about this on our personal Twitter, but I don't think Tony Khan is the kind of guy who would take Ring of Honor and rebrand it as an extension of AEW or AEW Light or anything like that. But I do think he's the kind of guy who wouldn't bring back the entire Ring of Honor roster. He would just pick and choose his favorites. And clearly these guys are not Tony Khan favorites because they're not in AEW yet. Some of them have, had dark bookings, and, even Josh Woods, I think he got some promo time on dark, but they're not AEW guys yet. And that, we can go back to it. And I don't mean to be, overly negative about it, but I am worried about Ring of Honor. When Tony Khan first announced that he purchased Ring of Honor, I was excited because I love Ring of Honor. I want to see it thrive, and Tony has the money to make that happen. And I think he's very good at his job. He's a good booker. But with the lack of talent announcements in terms of, signings and a roster, with the lack of details about television, and the very slow pace that they've built Supercard of Honor, I'm worried that this is a side project in a bad way, that this is second to everything else he has going on. And if it's going to be that way, give booking responsibilities to someone else. Christopher Daniels is right there. I'm just throwing that out there.
Give the book back to Delirious.
Yeah. You have so many people who would love to take this over for you.
Back up the Brinks truck and find any way you possibly can to get Maria away from Impact Wrestling. And we've talked about this. Give her the women's division. Bring back Bobby Cruz. One, you need your ring announcer back anyway. Bobby Cruz is the undisputed voice of Ring of Honor. Sorry, Ian Riccaboni. Mm-hmm. But also, by the way, I should say I am very glad that we are getting Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman back to call them the action. They're a fantastic duo, but Bobby Cruz will always be the voice of Ring of Honor for me, just because of that iconic ring announcing. But yeah, I'm gonna hold out some positivity here and some optimism that a lot of this is just growing pains after a new acquisition, and we're just trying to figure out where everything sits. I don't know what kind of long-term plans anybody on the roster made once they became free agents. That's something you'd have to ask the talent themselves on a case-by-case basis. It's entirely possible that Tony's cobbling together a roster that will include all of these guys, that will include STP, will include Brian Johnson, will include Rhett Titus, will include Tony Deppen, Dalton Castle, Dak Draper. Maybe not. I would really like to get to a point with this podcast where we can stop just throwing our hands up and saying, I don't know.
Saying, we don't know. I honestly am excited for weekly television because I miss Ring of Honor. And Final Battle was very sad for me because I thought that I was saying goodbye to Ring of Honor. I'm excited for weekly television. And I do think Tony Khan, and I should, these are my final thoughts on it. I do think Tony Khan will do a good job with Ring of Honor because he's Tony Khan and he's good at wrestling. This is what he does. I do think Maria Kanellis is someone who has to be here. I don't care what you have to give Impact. AEW has a relationship with them. Ring of Honor can have a relationship with them. I don't care. Forbidden Door it. Get her here. There's lots of guys in Impact that I think would fit in very well here, but she's definitely one in terms of management stuff. But with a battle royal or a multi-man match, that brings us to 7 matches. So if we're doing an 8-match card, what do you think?
I think your battle royal is one, and I think the other one is going to be a 4-corner survival.
Okay.
Because ROH has a long and storied history of 4-corner survival matches to round out cards. 4-way match, one fall to a finish, and you just let it go. It's created some great matches over time. It's created some very unique moments. Like at the first ROH show I was ever at live, where the 4-corner survival match was Samoa Joe, Jack Evans, Delirious, and Ebataro, who is and the whole thing was ridiculous because you had Delirious and Ebasan doing their comedy nonsense, including a fantastic slow motion sequence that back in 2006 when I saw this, I'd never seen anything like it before. Now slow motion wrestling is kind of passe. It's kind of silly in comedy wrestling, but I'd never seen it in 2006. That was wild. But then you also had the seriousness of pure champion Samoa Joe and Jack Evans being, a little smarmy heel and irritating Joe and getting his face slapped off for it.
I like where you're going with this. And speaking of Joe, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to do this, you have to just stack it with Ring of Honor Legends. Just make it cool. Do like we said earlier, do some fan service. You could put Joe in there. You could put Danielson in there. Why not? You could put Punk in there. Who cares?
Yeah, I would not be averse to it. I think it's going to wind up being, if you do a 4-corner survival, I think that's where you wind up with Joe Hendry being at.
Yeah.
Because he was previously announced for the card, assuming he's still there because of all the other things that have been thrown into limbo. Ninja Mac was previously announced. He would be a good fit in something like that. And, so yeah, that seems like we're a spot for that. So I'll throw one back at you.
Uh-oh.
So you seem to think that you mentioned Joe. We've talked Punk. We've talked Danielson. We've talked Daniels. Do we see any returning ROH Legends during this show? And is it in or out of the ring?
And see, that's really the crux of the issue, isn't it? Are they in or are they out of the ring? I don't know. And see, guys like Danielson and Punk and even Joe, to an extent, I think could come back and they could be in the ring and they could be great. Not that I think they are. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, of course. I think Punk especially is definitely AEW for life, or at least for now. I don't think Tony Khan is the kind of guy who would put legends in a match for no reason. So if it's going to be, and see, then I could be completely wrong because he could be, I watched old Ring of Honor and I love these guys. And I'm going to put them in this match. And you know what? More power to him. I don't know. I don't think there's really space for them. As bad as that sounds. Legends that I would like to see return. Who's available? Who isn't working as a producer in WWE?
Right. So that's Joe is obviously out. Joe is out there.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's retired, but Jerry Lynn is out there. He's working in AEW right now as a producer.
Yes.
I don't think he comes back. Punk is a possibility, and I'm gonna dangle this in front of you as well.
Uh-oh.
Tony did buy the rights to AFI, and we don't know if it was for just that one match or just that one use.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say I didn't know Tony bought the rights to it, first of all.
Okay. At very least, he got the rights to use them for Revolution.
Yes.
And we don't know if the agreement went beyond that or...
I think I know where you're going with this, but you're very excited, so give me your fantasy booking. I feel like you've been sitting on this.
No, not really. Just my mind just conjures things.
Okay.
It's not outside of the realm of possibility that Punk comes back and plays with in ROH for a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially if he's getting into the title scene now. It looks like after his win over Dax on Dynamite this week, but you've got a couple of months yet before that becomes a thing. It sounds like that, in all likelihood, that's probably where you're looking at for Double or Nothing, but that's in late May. After that, where does he fit? Does he take the title off of Paige? Does that, there's a lot of moving parts, and I am just trying to find a way that I can fantasy book CM Punk into Ring of Honor, because Punk in ROH was when I discovered him and became a huge fan. And there's always going to be a part of him that's going to call ROH home and is going to want to come back. And it would just warm my grizzled old heart to see it.
You know what? Let's manifest it for you. You know what? Let's start right now. We'll manifest it just for Kyle.
Oh, shucks.
I definitely think, you know what? He could be there for a little bit. I don't know to what extent CM Punk would stick around in Ring of Honor. I don't think he'd be there very, very long just because, you know, he's CM Punk and it's AW. But I could definitely see it happening. In terms of people who could show up outside of the ring, maybe Jerry Lynn, you could do that. I'm not entirely sure what his role is in AW, but you could do that. We mentioned Christopher Daniels. I think that's basically, I don't know. I think that's a definite. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I just think you have to put him there.
I would still like to see. I would still like to see the Kings of Wrestling show up.
I had totally forgotten about that until right this second, and now I'm like, you know what, Kyle, you're right.
I don't know that Chris Hero is doing much in the ring anymore. I think we've talked about that at one point, where I don't know if Hero's career is officially over or if he's just kind of waiting for the right opportunity or what. But I'd love to see Chris Hero there in any capacity. You know, he could be a great coach, a mentor, a manager, a commentator, a wrestler. Hero can do it all. And if Claudio is there with him, or if Claudio's there by himself, just a tremendous get.
You know what? That's probably not as bold of a prediction as it sounds like. Like, at least Claudio, I think, I don't know, you could just stick him on here. You could do anything and people would pop for it. You don't even have to put him in the ring. Just have him swing someone in a suit and people would love it. And I think
the ROH crowd loves to yell "Hey" with Claudio.
Yeah, and I think I'm not sure who reported this, but I think Claudio did file some trademarks, which suggests that he is going to do stuff in the ring, or maybe outside of the ring. I'm not entirely sure. I think you could definitely see some guys like Chucky T or Best Friends. I think you could see in Ring of Honor. Not that they're necessarily Ring of Honor guys, but you know, Chucky T does have a pass there. I'm thinking about AEW guys that could easily be there. Oh, the Hardys, maybe they go for a match. I have no idea.
I could see it.
I mean,
I wouldn't hate Hardys versus Briscoes.
You know what? That's fair.
Scorpio would be a great choice. I'm always for Scorpio Sky getting love. That guy does not get near enough credit and is just so good at what he does.
Honestly, but I have very strong opinions about Scorpio Sky and his treatment in AW. But
yes,
maybe. See, the issue is that AW's roster and WWE's roster are so full of Ring of Honor guys that like thinking of guys who aren't signed is a chore. It's like, okay, well, where's this person? Because you think of names and then it's like, oh, they're working as a writer in WWE.
Yeah.
Homicide. Oh, well, if we're doing Homicide, we might do Homicide and Eddie Kingston because there's history there. I'm just thinking. And then the other question is, who got released from WWE? Because there's so many guys.
Well, we're already an hour in. I don't know if we have enough time to go over everybody who got.
My final prediction for the big surprise at the end, Claudio. I'm just gonna say it. You think it's Danielson, but end of show tease.
I would not hate the idea of. Sorry, my microphone is echoing now. In any event, I would not hate the idea of post-match Jonathan Gresham standing tall and Claudia and the the ROH licensed ripoff of Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer hits. Claudio Castagnoli walks out. You know, I would not hate that. I love the idea. I love the idea of Danielson and Gresham, but alternate fantasy booking take. Claudio shows up after the main event. He's the guy who takes the title off of Gresham, allowing him to go to AEW full time. And there is where you get Danielson versus Gresham.
You know what? I could actually see that happening. I feel like that's a smart move that protects everyone, and that's exactly the type of thing that Tony Khan would do. And I think going back to our discussion of having legends and veterans and younger guys in AEW, I think Claudio is a veteran who has a lot of knowledge about wrestling that he could definitely share with younger guys. And I think he'd bring a lot of value to Ring of Honor. So you know what? Team Claudio on this podcast.
Let's make it happen. I mean, Claudio has been a guy for years who could have been a top guy. Mm-hmm. He just missed out on it in Ring of Honor before he signed his deal with WWE. He could absolutely be that guy to lead the promotion as sort of the player coach role until the next generation is ready to go. And heck, Claudio versus Lee Moriarty.
Claudio versus everyone.
Yes. Can I make that a t-shirt? Claudio versus everyone.
You know what? So someone tell him that and then make a t-shirt because now I want one. I need it. Well, like you said, we're past an hour. So any final thoughts on Supercard of Honor?
No. I apologize to anybody listening if we felt like this got a little bit too negative at points. I think we're very positive, and I think we're still very, very excited about what all this is going to entail. Yes.
Claudio versus Nina Mac.
Claudio is one of the best bases in the business. He could him against any high flyer you can name would be fantastic. But no, we're very, very excited for this. It's going to be a lot of fun. We said last week, this is going to be such a great jumping off point for anybody new to Ring of Honor. You're going to get to discover it right along with us. And, we would encourage you to come back to the podcast after Supercard of Honor, after TV, where we'll keep talking about this. We'll keep seeing what's happening, and we'll all learn about it together.
Yes, I'm very excited for the show. I think our criticisms are fair and valid, but as Kyle said, there's time. It could totally be completely resolved. Kyle, where can the people find you? What are you doing on the internet?
Oh man, I am that's true. I will be hosting the Supercard of Honor post show. Kiley, hopefully you'll be there with me. We haven't really talked about co-hosting yet, but you would be the obvious choice.
I'd love to.
So I think sounds good. Make that happen. You can find me on Twitter at Kyle K Sparks, KYLEK Sparks. There I am talking about AEW. I'm usually live tweeting or close to live tweeting based on my kids. AEW Dynamite, AEW Rampage. I am writing periodically for Body Slam. I'm here every Monday for the Code of Honor podcast with my fantastic co-host. So yeah, be sure you follow me. I'll just be aware of the occasional football and the occasional basketball takes too, but it's pretty wrestling based there. So I think you'll be pretty safe. Give me a follow. If you want to hear anything about what we can talk about on the show, if you got any suggestions, any questions, anything like that, anybody you'd like to hear us talk to, hit up Kiley or myself on Twitter. We'd be happy to hear it. Follow Code of Honor Cast at Code of Honor Cast. That's the official Twitter feed for the show. We'll have announcements and cool stuff there. And I think that's about everything. Oh, and follow Body Slam Net on all the socials: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I think there's even a TikTok. I'm not even sure. There might be. I don't know.
And Twitch.
All those ones that
follow us on Twitch.
all those ones that I don't use because I'm old.
Yeah, you can go to bodyslam.net. You can read news, reviews, editorials, Kyle's doing a lot of writing there. We have a lot of other great and talented people at Body Slam. So go to bodyslam.net for all of that. Bodyslam.net and all the socials. You can find me on Twitter. You can follow me at Fuller_Kiley. I post mostly wrestling. I do some other stuff, so be prepared. You can find me on Fightful Overbooked for Demo Divas. We have a new time. We're going to be Sundays at 5, I think. Yeah, Sunday at 5. Talking all things women's wrestling. Our last episode, we talked a little bit about Roxy, former Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, who's now in WWE. We talk about all sorts of women's wrestling things there. So if that's your jam, go over there and watch it. For other things that I'm doing around the internet, you'll have to follow me on Twitter. I'm just kind of everywhere doing everything. I'm just having the time of my life. You can see me on the Code of Honor podcast. This is my baby, my pride and joy. Kyle is the best co-host I think anyone could ask for. He's our resident historian, our resident man with the hot takes. So definitely follow him on Twitter. I'm going to make him start posting all his hot takes. So be prepared.
Oh, man. I will also point out that I did get a chance to listen to Demo Divas this past Sunday. It was a tremendous show. If you care about women's wrestling, if you care about wrestling at all, please give it a listen. It's fantastic.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. It really means a lot that I got Kyle's seal of approval. He's a hard man to please, but you know what? He's all the better for it. That's where we get the hot takes. So all that wrapped up. We did all our plugs. Follow Code of Honor podcast on Twitter, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.